Hello, hello. Welcome, children of Earth. We're so happy. We're going to be doing another far out, way out, but it's going to be shorter. Let's hope. Brevity is never my thing. This is Johanna from the Universal Ascension show about New Earth, moving into like 5D, everybody. Moving into 5D. And we've been doing some incredible, crazy, far out way things about understanding who we are as the soul and how living soulfully as each of us are, you know, really allowing that vibrancy to come to life through all that we have ever been, living in this now, all that we've ever been moment, the allness of who we are, the incredibleness of who we are, having absolute manifestation potential in all aspects of the micro, macro experience. And we want to kind of put that out there, you know, to kind of ponder and play with over the next little while is, I've got some channeled notes here, you know, from the councils. Doing so much clearing right now because we're in a really, really big pocket of energy right now, really, really profound energies. And we want to inspire everybody to really take advantage of these energies for your own healing, for your own alignment with your timeline of Earth, your most creative, your most expansive timeline of Earth, and really allowing yourself to let go. And that's as quick as you can see things change. With equal adventure, with equal excitement, with equal vibrancy that you really want to see and create change and be that change, then you will absolutely see the equality of that reality shift for you, whether it's your body and your health and your wellness and your environment and all that you are as that equal opportunity change. And that's how powerful you have the ability to see your now moment change, your cells change. And you can't really see your cells change yet, but you absolutely will be when you harmonize the inner and upper sight, the multidimensional sight of who you are, the visionary of who you are. You have access to see any part of your body through the inner consciousness, the inner eye, the inner experience of you as spirit. And we say inner eye, meaning that it's more than just the third eye, as we've said many times before. It's your ability to see and be the imprint of consciousness that is God consciousness in all things, seen and unseen. And that's what, you know, conduits and visionaries and prophets, we have those abilities to, we say see, it's just the word that we have to express and to explore in the human way. And it's very matter-like, it's very earthly-like, it's very material-like. But see means for you to feel into the story that is God being presented, consciousness being presented, however it is. You can see, I can see when I'm getting a God imprint, a story just coming to me, the Akash just opening up, the gifts from any timeline, the gifts from other Akashic lineage that I have access to, living as the soul. And when you're clearing out and releasing what is no longer serving you, as much as you see and want to work on that change and that inner density to be transmuted, you're opening up to the all that you are, which includes your Akash, which includes all of the gifts and the soul wisdoms and the earthly lifetimes and the galactic celestial lifetimes, all that you are as a shaman, all that you are as a magician, all that you are as a, you know, an herbalist, whatever it was, and whatever tasks and roles that you played on the infinite ways that we don't even have words for, you know, how we invest our energies in these certain roles of evolution are infinite, really infinite. You know, the genetics of all life forms, you know, we each have those scientific, biophysical, biochemical, biophysics of all creation, the physics and the science, the spirit. All of that in the life systems of life systems, in the galactic, celestial, ET, angelic, right down to the elemental and all life forms of Earth. These are really, really incredible times. When you're living as your soul, you're going to harmonize all of those experiences to see and feel yourself change in all moments. And you can feel into that God imprint story. That imprint, the only way I can explain it is when you're allowing the flow of your soul to live as your oneness, taking yourself and releasing what you know to be just about your body, personality, life. And that's how we've lived for thousands of years. The body, the personality. Now, as the soul of all that you are, you're harmonizing all male and female attributes, wisdoms, intelligences. You're living as the mother and the father through the balancing mechanism and the harmonizing and releasing. Every time something comes up, release it, let it go for a higher, loving, more unified belief, and perspective of who you are within the all and the all that is within you. So releasing as much as you can, every time something comes up, releasing old habits, releasing old patterns, releasing old belief systems so that you harmonize as the mother and the father. Then you begin that real big excitement and that adventure of who you are as the soul. Really start to play within the all that is spirit, source, God, all that is. The all that is unseen, and you will begin to feel the mechanism of God, because you really can't feel it. So we want you to get excited about attuning your body, awakening your body, training your body to feel the life of spirit in all things, because it can be and it is. Life within life, life within life. All is light, it's a harmonic, that is spirit, it's God in all things. And it activates the life that you choose as the driver to intend within it. Through the purity of your own heart, through the purity of who you are in that excitement journey, aligning with the male and female so that you're not living from that space of ego, you want just what you want just because you want it. You're actually moving about life in the most sacredness of joy and to be rich of spirit. That's the difference. So when you wake up and truly want to feel and ache within that purity of life, to feel all that there is a spirit, as all there is God, source, creator working with you, entangling, aching for your engagement, you become different. You become that new aspect of you that is soul driven, that is soul aligned. That is the only way that we actualize fulfillment. It just is. Nothing outside of us can ever do it. It's us entangling and engaging with spirit and all things, because it is just not seen or known right now, because we've always been taught from the ego perspective, the personality perspective, but you're far grander than that. You come from galaxies and planets and forms that you can now call in to live through you, so that you can live this magical divine dance that goes beyond what words can explain and express. These are just a few examples, so that you get really excited about your potentiation within the all, because as I can, so can you. As I am, so are you. That is the voice of the Christ consciousness of all that is, that you are the divine song of spirit. You are the divine harmonic. You are the rhythm that is yet to be danced. So awaken and activate and purely align with who you are as the excited being that's meant to be here and meant to live in change. And that is the evolution of spirit. It is constant change and seeking of love and being of love, of seeking of oneness and being in oneness, because everything before you was the oneness. Everything before you is that reflection of, wow, I can do something. This is love, this is spirit. Can you love the unlovable that we've seen as and determined and defined and pocketed into these compartmentalized experiences that no, we can't love that experience because it's painful and harmful, but you can. You can love and be one in all things because it's aching and asking for it. And those aspects that seem the most separate or dynamically opposed are those ones that have the greatest judgment and the greatest separation of your unification in it, because there's always that seemingly space-time difference, but it is only one. It always will be. So our role as the drivers, as the mediators, as the masters, is to bring that less distance, because it's just an illusion. There is always oneness. There always will be. And so allow yourself to play with that, throughout your week, that the separation is always an illusion, and you can bring the distance, if you will, between space and time, whether it's a reality that you choose to experience than the one you're actually experiencing, or someone that you choose to create healing with, or between the body that you truly ache for and the body that you're in right now. It doesn't matter what that space distance is. It's just you allowing that space difference experience. That is the equal measure that you that spirit is asking you to amplify within. The difference between here and here is just your perspective. That's it. That's your knowingness. So that's where you got to work within this juicy part right there that says, no, I am already it. I am already pure. I am already aligned in my best and highest body. I am already aligned. My cells are listening. I am already aligned. I am as vast and expansive as my soul aches for me to be. And I'm just going to allow and let it go. Let go of the distance of the space and time that thinks you're here, but you're not there. We are always perfectly aligned when we just let go and allow spirit to be. So everybody, open your pillar of light. Open that beautiful pillar of light that runs along your spine. And call your beautiful God codes in. Call in your healing teams, call in the beautiful galactic and celestial federations and the councils of light, and have them bathe your beautiful multidimensional fields so that you can tune into who you are as this beautiful vibrational technicolor dream coat that spirit sewed you and matched you together with. Timeline through timeline, gifts through gifts, and all the bodies and the forms that you've ever taken are all held within the DNA. And whatever is meant to be activated in these powerful, dynamic times of change and evolution for humanity, you allow it and dream your most vibrant body. Allow it and dream your most vibrant reality. Allow it and dream your most vibrant intelligences and your intuitiveness to all harmonize in the allness of who you are. And we're going back to the gifts and the skills that will be awakened that we just don't have words for yet, because we're activating those aspects of our Pleiadian DNA that just had access to all that was God consciousness. And so as you're working through the densities of the third and fourth dimensional densities of the karma that has been experienced and co-created, and you're allowing all of those limiting beliefs of lack and win-lose and all of those egocentric experiences, and the more that you release them and let them go, you're saving this beautiful experience of space-time, if you will, for all that is light and love and the vortex of creation to live through you. And there's far more going into what we just said, that sentence just there, the space-time vortex of all that is potential. And for those that so desire, you can work with that with your teams, because there's a lot there to be harmonized, to be realized, and to be manifested as spirit is. And so we wanted to give you this one experience, and there's so many, and then we'll read our channeling, because we want to keep these videos a lot shorter for you to just go and play and be the beautiful soul that you are as spirit. And when we're talking about the essence of spirit and the harmonization of spirit, and what this really means is there is no difference between you just living as the soul infused being and you communicating with spirit. Some may think that you must have to set aside sacred time to do your meditative breath and do your experiences before you call in spirit and you begin your communication, but you're always in harmonization of the communication that is spirit. All of creation is the harmony song, the harmonic song of evolution. God is always, source is always, spirit is always communicating, always. There are always synchronicities, and we say the happenstances of spirit, life creating life, and light being light. The song that is always being sung never shuts off. It is only you that is awakening to the constant communication that is evolution. How comfortable are you to experience change? How comfortable are you to see yourself in regardless of what has ever been? That's where that space-time nourishment must be set, is that now experience to know that I'm ready for as much change as that I am able to experience. I'm ready. And therefore, everything that was just simply disappears in this nourishment and enrichment of spirit of the now. I'm ready for change. I'm excited for change. I'm adventuring change. I'm conjuring change. I am the manifestation of change. You see, therefore, that even that place, that body, and that manifestation of the abundance that you thought you were going to get to because you were here before, now it's all now. It's all now. It's all now. That space-time difference is no more. It's now. So really soaking into what is the vortex of now. The vortex of your soul is now. The vortex of your soul is now. Whether it's an unhealthy body to healthy body, it's now. Whether it's the manifestation of a miracle that you didn't know yesterday that was there maybe next week, but it's now. And that is the difference between the quantum now that is always spirit, always communicating, always available, always in the omnipresent, always in the field of light, always in the field of creation, always in the codes that you were offered, and that you are as it, reflecting to it as you. For you are the reflection of all that is spirit. It's just a matter of perspective to say, I am awake now, I am spirit. My body is spirit. My eventuation is spirit. My eventuality is spirit. All that I am is spirit. And I'm now creating within and around and all that is spirit. It's the toroidal of spirit. The toroidal of spirit. The toroidal of spirit is that constant evolution of who you are. And as you're moving through in this omnipresent of spiritual body, there may be a density held within your root chakra, if you will. And that root chakra is going to call up an earth experience that might have been 3D in, say, 1825, that left you in a state of instability because you lost your partner who was the income earner and there was no other way to earn money. And that wound stayed with you because it was a deeply entrenched wound. And that's why that common experience now, through some work instability that you might be experiencing now, and these wounds that are held within the toroidal of your all spirit essence now, because you're constantly being bathed with light. You are constantly being bathed with light. And as these light particles hit that beautiful experience of density, that's a story that needs to come out as you call it forward. I am living as my soul. I am the toroidal of all that is spirit. That density can no longer exist. I want it to come forward. I want change. I want to see myself as the experience of transmuting that experience because I know I'm safe. And you re-clarify and you reaffirm and you recreate that light back within the root chakra to clarify and entrain it and into its natural organic perfection. That's why you are the driver. You are in this toroidal of all that is source, this all experience, this all manifestation, this all engagement. And you have infinite earth experiences that are constantly coming to the forefront, whether it's in your fields, whether it's in your chakras, whether it's in your cell memory, whether it's in your Akashic lineage for you to transmute from your ancestors or sending you information to clear for them, because the energies are so profound and supportive that we can release all aspects of subjugation and our planet be fully liberated. We can eradicate this entire collective consciousness from all disease. We absolutely can. There is no space-time of that. When our collective is done with COVID, it will be done overnight, just like that. Because our collective has taken the ownership within our hearts to say, we are done. We are done with the virus. We are done with giving our power away, that our bodies are not healing properties, that we are not the toroidal of spirit, that we are not the toroidal of change. I can change. I am that I am. And these earth perspectives that you have lived on always, right now, it's all the spiral of now. And why you get triggered and why you get manifested in those experiences with others to challenge you. Have you released that less than belief? Have you released that less than aptitude of who your body is with you and you with it? You are constantly being bathed and supported, constantly. Therefore, as you release the densities, you become grander and grander light, and your toroidal begins to accelerate. You begin to release the old aspects of the urges that have been holding you down and pulling you back, and you get to jet forward as a quantum leap, as a quantum experience, as a quantum entanglement into the new energies. Because your body's ready for it. You have to be prepared for it. Your body has to be prepared to harmonize, to participate in, to accentuate within, because remember, light begets light, light begets light, light begets light. It's feeding off each other. The light particles are feeding off light particles. The more that you feed within the systems and entrain your systems and your cells of more greater light and becoming that more and greater light, you start living as the greater light. Your omnipresent experience and your toroidal systems are only seeking that which it is. If your systems are sick and you're not aligning your systems and you are not feeding your systems of the spirit nourishment, and your male, female bodies are out of alignment, your chakras are out of alignment because there's so much fear and limitation. You will only feed into the fear and limitation, and your toroidal field will be fear and limitation, therefore attracting fear and limitation. And so too will the cells. The cells don't know of itself unless you show it of itself. All that is spirit showing itself to spirit. You are spirit showing yourself to spirit in anything and anyone that comes before you, how you feel, what you manifest, and your potentiation of anything. Space-time is now, now, now. It's all now, the toroidal of now, now, now. And the beautiful, vibrant energies that are here, you can absolutely take passionate, divine engagement and say, now I choose change. I want that change. I am the evolution of change. My body has changed now. My perspective has changed now because I want it so. I'm so devoted to feeling good. I want to feel good. And my soul, my oversoul, the oversoul of oversouls, and all body perspectives that I've ever held, the personality of me has forever changed because I get to code it. My personality is on that coding of what I came in with, the familiarity, experiences, dogma, social, but I get to change my personality aspects because it's becoming more and more soul infused because I know I'm infinite. I know I can pull up those particles and those lifetimes and those experiences and those gifts because I'm living more as the interpretation of the higher light that I'm swimming within. It's a constant swimming engagement. And that constant swimming engagement is interacting off of one another always. That's why you manifest so quickly nowadays. So what vibration are you placing out? What vibration are you placing within? And you have absolute control over it. Nobody is at fault for your reality experience. Nobody. Your reality experience is yours. And that is the taking back of the thine control and healing of thine name. Thine name on every level, you are the master of it. Spirit, it. Spirit, the inspiration of it. The it is all that is source, the all that is the creator within the creator, the micro and the macro, the drop of the water, the grain of the sand, the seed of the flower. You are it all. And you can place yourself within whatever consciousness level it is. That's what's so amazing. then you get to really take yourself into these far, deep, way off places that we just don't have words for, but we're going to allow ourselves to really get creative and get fun and really get excited about all these things that we're now co-creating and experiencing. Your ability, as you're becoming this one harmonic experience within your toroidal system, you're going to start accessing those gifts and those codes that are held within your DNA that are linked to your Pleiadian lifetimes, because we are most like on this planet, we are most like, and we have most genetics of how we've come, and our history of humanity has been threaded and has been, our DNA was altered by the Pleiadians so that we could, and the plan of the mother and the father for planet Earth was to go through ascension so that we didn't have to die to come back. We could ascend through our bodies, through the physical bodies, but it takes that we entrain our physical body matter, the spirit and the physics of spirit. And so those codes that are Pleiadian and all of the Pleiadian lifetimes, and your codes and your energies and your fields and your bodies are constantly being worked on. That's why it's really important that you take ownership of the body and the vessel being spirit. Start harmonizing all that you are as spirit. In this harmonization of spirit, you're going to be feeling the way that God is. God is not anything, and your soul is not anything outside of you. You are in and of it as the all. You are the field of God, the God is the field of you. The more that you are accepting your allness as God and spirit and a source, you then get to participate in the quantifying, the magnifying, the amplifying of all that is spirit. And it comes back to you like that. And also your ability to recognize and we want to say this so that we're not putting pressure on those that have ego-centric energies that still must be healed, thinking that if you're not doing any of this, you're less than, because you're not. You're perfect exactly where you are. All that it requires is you to know that now you can choose to release what was ego, saying that you're not perfect enough to explore your highest and your best gifts. So anytime anything comes up as a less than belief or perspective, release it and say, no, I am infinite. I'm swimming with the infinite of God, and I can feel and I can sense it, and I can actually participate in it. That participation, we would say participation and entanglement more than we would say the gifts or the communication, because the communication is always, you're always participating in spirit. Your level of awareness, your level of consciousness, how much you've activated your DNA and cleared your bodies and fields, you're maintaining and sustaining of yourself as spirit, the toroidal field, will exactly show you the level of communication that you always have with all that is spirit. And so the example that we have is now that Joanna is awakening to these other gifts and her Pleiadian DNA is coming more and more online, she's having that absolute control. We say control in the most lightest and most divine way, because you are manifesting your new body as light. You're manifesting your new world as greater light, because the Pleiadians and their DNA within it, they operate within the functioning and the coding of all that is light, understanding that light begets light. It's like the catalyst of all that is. That's spirit. Spirit is the catalyst. If one does not know itself as spirit, if one does not know the environment as spirit, then one will not have that catalyst of change within it. It will simply continue on cycles of the mental programming. And so that is the activation of the essence, and the essence can be felt. It is the feeling and the sensation of spirit and God and source creator of all things. And so when Joanna is activating her communion and her openness and the holy creators and the various beings and the councils that she works with and the oversoul that she works with, there are infinite threads of experience that are operating within her in any one moment to her availability of communication of light and the downloads of light that she is able to put in human words. And these communications, as her knowing of light and the knowing of God consciousness within all things, is equally in repertoire with her ability to access those packets of light, if you will. However, it is much more than that. It is the communication and the entanglement of spirit speaking in all things, of all things, for all things. For that is God consciousness. It's always a constant song within a song, and you are the notes within it. It just takes that you acknowledging yourself as the note, and you can become the communicator, transmuter, and translator of it all. So if there is a particle in front of you, it doesn't seem, is not seemingly of pleasing to you, change the note, change the frequency, create a new hum, create a new song. You are the manifester, you are the driver, you are the one that is acting and activating with the catalyst. It can be a positive catalyst or a negative catalyst, you get to choose. If you stand back and allow all things to be neutral, all things to be needed, all things to be required, then you will not react, and you will sit and just simply respond and then choose a new vibration. And it's constantly the harmonics of spirit. These engagements and these entanglements and these connections and these communications are constant. It never turns off, ever. There is a constant song and communion and entanglement with spirit, always. So you don't have to set aside time for communication or channeling with spirit. Of course, because of your 3D lives and how you have entrained and routined yourselves, that is something that some of you may do. But it's not necessary. You allowing yourself to be the open vessel, all that is light and spirit, and you will feel the communications and the love that is all around you. And you will feel the harmonics and the songs and the information and intelligence that are constantly speaking to you. Hi, I'm Makaya. I'm ATK and I see Hi, thank you. They're just showing me a little picture of I'm just doing timeline jumps right now. And I say timeline jumps, they're just, I'm calling in pockets of experiences from different now moments. And so that is to some timeline jumping because some of those experiences were on 3D, but I'm pulling that pocket of communication, entanglement, engagement. It's always available. It's always now. And then I get to interpret in this now space and I get to change it and reroute it. So that goes with healing the past in this now moment, whether it's your body, whether it's an experience, whether it's anything. You can go back, pull that pocket, and then reroute it in the now knowing of who you are as love and light. That's how all things change and are healed now. And so they were showing me, thank you, I'm so grateful, Spirit. They're showing me, thank you, Spirit, and all the creators that I walk with, an aspect of me that was, again, one of my most treasured memories of different experiences and situations where I have access to, thank you, the elementals and the communication within all that is spirit in nature. And I have these song communions, and they're showing me different variances through which, before I was conformed, the different variances of communication and they're saying in the experience of 3D then, I say then, but it's just those who want to prefer that in linear experience, that you would term it happenstance, through which a child is activated, and many children coming forth will be activated and merely have intelligence of Gaia that some will find absolutely obscure and beyond genius. Because there is genius, especially within all that is the nature, animals, and the divas, and the elemental frequencies of the creator gods, constantly creating codes of life and new life and evolution within life. As the more that we engage in that life and the consciousness of that life expands as we expand in it. If we are not communicating with our planet, then it will not communicate with us, and the systems will become de-evolved. And of course, evolution is to always evolve. And this is why we are moving through ascension. And the plan of ascension was taken place. And the directives to place more and greater light and importance on the evolution of humanity and the potentials and our highest potentials of who we are in the communication process that is always spirit, is always available. However, it is always and always will be your free will to choose and consciously seek within about your awareness and conscious level of your communion and your communication and entanglement with spirit in all times. And so they're showing me the very aspects of happenstance, which is what that outer perspective of someone looking at me creating those communions and those beautiful sacred dialects with spirit would have not understood and being confused about it, and then gone into a fear experience because not knowing how to deal and communicate and understand a child that was doing something that was completely off world to a human experience that would not understand why people would be in a nature environment and communing and communicating a language of intelligence that was just simply not known from a 2 or 3 year old perspective. And so we call it happenstance because the person and the human coming in not understanding at an unawakened state would happen upon something that is miraculous, that is gifted to a child that is just not understood because the realm of understanding and the realm of consciousness was just not at that level. And so that's why we say happenstance, although however it is in each and every one of you, the gifts of spirit activating through your DNA. And so those experiences that we want to go back to, because we just don't simply have words, but we want you to understand and invite in. Why we're saying this, invite it in, offer it in. Your experience with Source Creator and God Creator is an experience through which may not have words or terms, but there is that soft and gentle, loving communication always experiencing itself through you. For that is spirit, you as it, and it is you. The reflection of who you are in your reality. The equal measure to adventure and excitement that you seek change will be that equal measure through which change will occur. And sometimes, often, instantaneously. As Joanna is opening in her sacredness to be and commune with others, she can be communicating with family members and all of a sudden have a profound consciousness download through which informations that are just not of this world come through. For their consciousness of their oversoul is partaking and engaging in the quantum flow, the quantum song, allowing her that God information that God is opening and surrendered into. For that is the entrainment of the vessel and the fields and the consciousness that I entrain myself to open in the flow of spirit, and spirit allows me that access of information that is simultaneously, instantaneously there. And without even knowing or how it's known, it just is. And the words come forward and flow as if the only explanation can be for the only human words that we have. It is the God consciousness communicating with God consciousness within and without God consciousness, the field of God consciousness and the spirit and the soul of God consciousness. And therefore, thus then, the infinite of intelligence is always there, always here, always now, always in the flow if you simply allow. I allow the frequency of change, I surrender in the frequency of change, and all is simply just known. And are you able to allow yourself the softening of that information? Are you allowing yourself the sacredness of who you are as spirit, in spirit, away, and all is as spirit? As far away as you may think that these gifts and these experiences come from, it is within you, dear lighted ones. The center of all that you are is the universe, dear lighted ones. The micro macro of all that you are, dear lighted ones. And it's aching for your connection. At all times, it's available to you. And so how excited can you be for change? Your vast and luscious soul is awaiting your tapping in and engaging as the soul that you are. Cell by cell, organ by organ, bone by bone, cell by cell, you are in commandment of who you are. And that cell carries intelligence, and that cell carries consciousness, and that cell carries the knowing of who you are for you to entrain and break all molds of past human experience and limitation. Break the barriers, break the molds, break the conformity, for you are meant to forge forward, not follow. Forge and break new, forge and break new, forge and break new. Break every barrier, break every conformity, for you are. That you are as vast and as wide as you so choose. And how fun is that? And so we were trying to allow an explanation of how when Joanna is aligned in the God consciousness, there is just simply a packet of God consciousness that flows from the words, and the words simply put themselves together. And there is the God consciousness, for that is the imprint of God. And it can be as well defined, if you will, as seeing into the story or the packet that is being imprinted into the consciousness between the communion and the entanglement of those that so desire, get so excited to co-create at the highest level. For remember that your higher selves and your souls and the versions of you are all entangling on higher versions of where you are, asking that your body catch up to where the spirit and the light of who you are. And we come together in these physical states so that we allow the sacred communion of our hearts and our souls to get busy and to really get vibrant about who we are, to really get excited about why we are here, about change, and get excited about change and know that we are here to amplify change of love and light. And simply allow yourself to amplify all that you are as spirit into the harmony of spirit, and allow spirit to always be in loving connection with you. And spirit will assist in the driving of your cells to healthier cells and light, to open the gateways of intelligence that you've always had to see your way out of problems, to see your way through and beyond strife and suffering and change and challenge. Or that is why it is God consciousness, to seek the navigation around all that you thought was impossible, unimaginable, infinite, dear lighted ones. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. In my Ilamakaya Takeshi, I am a ama a Takeshi, I am a cut the my Takeshi, I am I am a Makaya that the K that K I am the Maka ma not I Takeshi, I am a Maka I am a cut I am yeah. So they're saying that they are in delicate reverence of each and every one of you that come forward for the expansiveness, just to release all limitations of who you thought you were and hold yourself in the most reverence of honor of who you are as the sacred child. Really begin to spend time each day on honoring your sacred child, for that sacred child needs your nourishment, because that sacred child is how you create and untangle spirit. It always is. Creative entanglement as the sacred child. Creative entanglement as the sacred child. Those are your gifts activating as you use them. If you don't use them, they won't be activated. And they're meant to be used and manifested in different ways, in beautiful ways, so that you share yours with all. As you share yours with the all, the fields, the omnipresent, the God consciousness that is in the unseen gets activated. And you call in anything that you're calling out. You are a constant reverberation. You are a constant toroidal communication system, whether it is through a release, and then you're calling in greater light and realigning in your highest and best, and you're creating that greater vastness of who you are, Spirit. Constant. Thank you, Spirit. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, Spirit. They're just channeling with me right now. Sorry, what did you say? The collective is requiring a response in some questions that have been posed recently about the collective transitioning into new realms of experience. And so we are coming forward, thank you, and to offer each and every one of you, for you will experience your reality changing and your reality shifting in the unique ways that you're preparing yourselves to, and the readiness that you are, which will be in that written channel that you have before you. And so many have been asking on your planet, so they're channeling through me. As I'm speaking, just know that it's my communication with them that I'm talking out loud to you. So don't worry if it's first or third person. Well, they're channeling to me to answer the questions that are in the collective right now about the upcoming shifts and how that will look to humanity. And to each one, it will be different. That is what they're saying. And thank you. I'm so grateful, Spirit. I'm so grateful. Heavenly councils of light. Is there anything you would like to say on these shifts more appropriately before I speak on the channel material? Thank you, Spirit. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Thank you, Spirit. I am the Holy Child. Thank you, Spirit. So I'm calling Gaia in right now, because Gaia is a part of these shifts and she's so grateful to be with us. Sacred accompaniment. So, okay. Thank you. Say I am I. My is so I'm just getting lots of downloads right now, and I can just summarize it in a couple of statements, although there's much more behind this and of this. So they're just downloading to me about the various changes that will be upcoming through Gaia. Gaia will be moving through these shifts as we enter a new sector of space, which I'll read in my channel here. And they're also saying, as a reminder, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. They're saying that we do each have sacred accompaniment, whatever that word is, accompaniment. Each of us have that sacred accompaniment through great times of challenge or change, through which our whole planet and our whole collective is moving through these really big leaps of energy. And so if you're finding yourself in your body struggling or feeling really lethargic, it's because we're going through a huge presentation of energy in our space. The space is offering this presentation to us, and it's how we move in it and with it. The more excited we can get for this and release everything that keeps holding us back in these mental routines of subjugation and fear, then the harder it will be. So it's just a matter of softening and releasing, of really getting excited about change. And then start imagining your body as it's fully changed. Imagine your reality is fully changed. Imagine your intelligence is fully changed. And those words that you never used before, you're now starting to use, and you actually understand them. That's always my thing. A spirit will give me these words, and that's how I know it's not the Joanna personality mind or brain. Because I have to constantly look these words up. But that's what they're saying, is this toroidal experience, you're just going to start to operate as your higher self. And through it, I wouldn't use what I just said, because it would be lowering my self-value to say that the Joanna part of me didn't know that, because I was always it. That's just that part of that personality that plays small all the time. So that's where we got to start harmonizing into the higher self and always placate into that higher self. Yes, I absolutely know what my higher self is channeling me because it's me. So start taking ownership of that higher self and releasing those parts of you that would just want to be small, because you absolutely know those words. You absolutely know and can understand it and transmute it and translate it. And so you were going to say something, Spirit. Did I skip a point there? There's just like a ton of downloads right now, and I'm just picking and pulling what to say. So we were talking about Gaia, the transitioning in the sector of space. So there will be some physical changes on Gaia as we're moving into the physical sectors of space of heightened frequency. Yes, of course, the aptitudes of the children are going to be shifting and changing very dramatically because they don't come with as much density or karma to clear as we do. So the species of the children will be, very advanced, and we're going to have to create systems for them as they're assisting us create systems that will facilitate their advancement. And who they are. And so the education systems will be changing really radically. And it won't be education systems, they'll be like learning pods, and the children get to pick and choose how they want to learn, not necessarily doing the traditional archaic English and math till grade 12. They get to just choose from a selection of whatever they're interested in learning about, and they go to these different pods, and they have outdoor learning and indoor learning in various stages and phases. And so it will be a lot more flexible, a lot more self-directed, it'll be a lot more self-aligned because they know who they are as spirit. And so why waste years and years of archaic learning that they just don't have to learn? As we said, so they're showing me that space-time understanding between how schools are now and how schools will be, it's only the matter of excitement that we get in this now moment of the space-time just completely sucking all of the last stuff was and just creating something totally new. So it's just only our perspective. Do we have to go through the A and the B and the C to get to this new system? No, we can just start, right? So that's just about each person's comfort level and temperament and speed of capacity to use that light and to be that light and just be okay just jumping into it. So that's where you got to work out, well, what type of attachments do I have? Why am I so afraid about change? Why am I fearing that our systems will change? Why would I fear that if it's going to benefit everybody? What programs am I running? Why don't I want to see change? So that's where you got to work through your fears. Okay, was there anything else, Spirit? I'm so grateful for the Holy Creator. I'm so grateful, Holy Creator. I'm so grateful. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Okay, they're just saying that, thank you, Mother and Father. They're just saying in your presence of who we are, you are. So they're wanting me to ensure. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. How may I say this that is grander in a more simple modification, please, Spirit? Okay, so your aptitude of us is in equal to our measure that we are allowing to live through you. So if you have the aptitude of yourself as being this dynamic vessel of spirited light, you're going to create spirited light, and you will activate, again, your remembrance. Thank you, Spirit. Your remembrance to levitate, your remembrance to create telekinesis and whatever that is spirit, because you're all spirit. You're allowing us to say that spirit is all things. Spirit is in my toroidal field. Spirit is in the nature. Spirit is in the animals. Spirit is in the wildlife. And that wildlife will come and speak with you. Make no mistake about that. Many masters walk about this planet and they just attract all that is nature, for they are singing the song of spirit. Their vibrational essence and the vibrational song that they are is spirit. And simply just magnetizes as spirit. What's your core vibration? How do you magnetize, dear lighted ones? Look at your reality. And we say to you, dear lighted ones, call us forth in excitement and joy. From within you we are, and in reverence we bow and say you are as we are, in the light of spirit all that we are, and celebrate these great times of change, for we are that we are all that is spirit speaking and living through you. We are the field of light speaking through you. So they're just showing me now the toroidal field of who we are. There's spiritual essence of the creators that are in the field living through, speaking through me. So they're letting me know that this field that I am in is speaking of the creators through me. And so too, as me showing you, as you walk about as your epicenter of light, so too do you as they. So it's just remember that space-time, quantum. You don't have to wish and hurry up and wish you were there. It's already here. It's the question is, can you acknowledge it and just allow God to be God in all things? What veils and blocks and hurdles do you have of your communion with God, which is all things, all times, all moments, right? You ask God for a healthy body. Work with me, God. Can I have a healthy body? What are my lessons in not being healthy? Can I work it out so that I can release these stories of dishealth and disease? So let's read this. Thank you, Spirit. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm really excited to be here and to be a part of this human collective. So please share and like our videos so that those that are awakening can also feel that it's okay, everything you're going through. You're meant to awaken. You're meant to ask the powerful questions. You're meant to break conformity. You're meant to go outside the box. You are meant to step off the treadmill. You are meant to do things differently. You're meant to think about 10 different ways that you can do something that you did in a routine way and say, no, I want to do it this way now. I want to change. I want to shift. I want to shake it up. Remember the upside down effect. Everything that was, shake it upside down and start living from this heart space. And then you start activating that quantum field that is God in all things. It's always communion. It's always connection. So this is called the many faces of the soul, right? The many faces of the soul. All that you are is the soul. Remember, as they were showing me the God consciousness of the 12th dimensional creators speaking through me in the omnipresent field, their omnipresent field of the creators are constantly creating. There's constantly energy and consciousness within the fields of God consciousness program. So there's downloads right now that are going, but I don't have time to explain it. Trust that there is God consciousness and the programs of God, the programs of life within life, the infinite systems of new life forming. If the consciousness of the collective, just as an example, and so they're saying this is truth. So I'm saying as an example, but it is actually what is happening because otherwise I wouldn't have thought of it. If there is a particular portion of our planet and say a portion of our collective, we'll say 5,002 beings, humans on our planet are excited to explore new flora and fauna. Those pulsations of intention and those pulsations of excitement, those orbs of God consciousness, of omnipresent in the omnipresent, they're being catalyst energies off of one another. That catalytic energy of love and love and love off of one another begin within God consciousness, the elementals and the Elohim and the fairies and the devas and Gaia consciousness, the grid consciousness, and all that is God consciousness, becoming the seeds and the roots and the forests and the fields, creating those new flora and fauna. For us to co-create and imagine within, for us to co-create new herbs and tonics within, for us to co-create and just imagine and just be in awe of. Do you see what we're saying? So joy and excitement, the sacred child, is how we manifest life. Life within life, for it is the equal measure that God is. God is excited to create that flora and fauna, but are we? Are we excited to communicate with God in that way? Are we excited to say that, wow, that's God. Let's create God. Do you see what we're saying? And God's right there with you. God says, yes, now you're awake. Now you got it. You want to create a healthy body? There you go. And it's up to us. We are the drivers of the Holy Christ. And that's what the Holy Christ came forward in every moment. Make no mistake about it. That is the absolute. That is the God of the God. And are you the equal measure of the purity of intention? Yes, I want to live in the pure intention of who my body is, Spirit. Please allow me to be in alignment of my Pleiadian DNA. Please allow my Pleiadian DNA to come forward and be of the greater good and the benevolency of the greater good, because I want to speak that, which that is of, all that is God. I am that of it. And so it is. You got it now, daughter. Dance. Woo! Dance, baby. Oh, God rocks. Bring it to God. It calls what it needs. That's the soul. So you're going through a moment right now of the soul, your toroidal field, your soul aspects, top down. You're calling up whatever the soul needs right now from whatever this earth lifetime was. We're saying earth lifetime, but it's also other planets as well. Let's just say, for my own instance, let's just say as I am a multidimensional body teacher of the multidimensional bodies of Christ consciousness and the Pleiades. And I teach children at a very young age about their dynamic systems of light, so that they can go and travel intergalactically and interdimensionally. For they don't want to travel when they're in a imbalanced body, because it affects everybody. They're omnipresent. They understand their bodies and omnipresence affects the all. So for the greater good, they're very responsible with their bodies. They want to make sure that they are radiating their highest intention so that they're not radiating imbalances of toxicity or imbalanced wounds that need to be healed first. They understand that. They don't want to put those projections on any other life outside of them. They want to fix it and heal it first. And so we're just quantifying because of, a newborn Pleiadian will not have the same experience as a 3D Earth experience would be. It would be far more dense and far more traumatic at this level. That's why as we clear these deep traumatic wounds inside of us of betrayal or abandonment or rejection, we're healing it at the densest experience so that the 8th and 5th dimensional and 7th dimensional Pleiadians don't feel it as much because their vibrations are higher because we've done the hard work. And they are assisting us by sending us the light for the healing and the support that we need. So constantly, when you're going through those releases, call in your soul that is also with you in support and helping you heal your body, heal your chakras, bathe you in light, give you a light bathing, give you an energy field bathing, because you're the one doing the hard work and clearing the most of the densest of it. Okay, so it's always an equal opportunity experience in your healing. You're never on it alone. You're just not. You never have been and you never will be. So your soul will call what it needs for you to see something in front of you, for you to learn the lesson so that you shift your perspective about who you are. It is never meant for punishment. It is never meant for, aggrandizing. It's always meant for, wow, how can I see myself as absolute equal and one with all that is? I'm no longer going to hold myself in subjugation or limitation or less than. I don't have to win or lose. Everybody wins. And that's what it is. It's equal oneness, equal unity. And that's what the soul aches to see and learn. Not to hold yourself separate by dismissing it, denying it, or rejecting it, or abandoning those aspects of yourself. You're going to call in all aspects of yourself so that you don't have to further attract another abandonment issue or another rejection issue. So your soul will always call in whatever that dark wound is because it's in your field and it's vibrating out. That wound of rejection, that wound of lack, that wound of saying that you're not intelligent, that you don't have those gifts, you're creating those balances outside of you. That's what you're projecting. So that's why your reality is absolutely only under your permission. So whatever you create, you can absolutely change it. The question is, what is your excitement for change? Or do you just want to keep attracting what you've always attracted? And that's okay too. It's always perfect. But now that you know, you have higher consciousness because we're offering it to you. And it's always what you do with it. And you go away and you allow yourself to soak within the purity and the divinehood of who you are. And you start harmonizing. Wow, I am pretty awesome. I am pretty awesome. You don't use the material and then put it under your name and make money off it. Because that's not learning any lesson at all. That's just saying, how can I copy information and make money on it? You're not learning any soul lesson there. And of course, that will keep coming back to you until you learn that soul lesson. You don't have to do that. You can just go within and start harmonizing with the greatest expansiveness of who you are. You can come up with an idea that's totally great and under you. That's what's meant to occur. We are here to be the inspirations to one another so that we go within and we seek our own uniqueness and our own genuineness. And we allow all that is outside of us to say, you're genuine. You don't need to copy or have value or worthiness of somebody else accepting you or validating you. Get that from within yourself. You have infinite gifts. Why would you want to take from anybody else and call it your own? That's not your true vibration. That's just your vibration in lack, wanting to copy another vibration because it's attractive, and that's okay. But that's where the sense of self must be rebuilt and brought back in. You're meant to be inspired. We are here to inspire you to go within and seek your own authentic, genuine experience. And that's you and God threading. That's you and creation threading. And you will be activated. Spirit will not activate you if you're merely taking the gifts and the energy of others and not going within to know who you are about it and within it and of it. So it's everybody's purpose and it's everybody's lesson to know who they are. As Jesus said. Everything in between is always perfect anyways, because your soul, again, will call in. Your soul will call in whatever it needs. Your soul will call in. Your soul will continue to seek out you know, some of the high vibrational kids, and where they're not being taught, the high vibrational kids are not being taught the value of who they are and the genuineness and the authenticity of who they are within, that they're the most fastest seeking beings of the outer explorers. They're the fastest explorational beings of the outer reality. But they're doing less and less of it from within because they've never been taught that you have magnificence of the universe within you. And you can receive all of your validation, all of your value, all of your worthiness within you. And then you create. When you're right within who you are, when you're right within your path with spirit, when you're right within who you are and your genuine, authentic vibration, watch the world change. Because each and every one of us are a magic, absolute magical piece of the puzzle. We're not meant to be like any other vibration in any way. We're just not. And we're meant to just cheer each other on in our authentic expression and exploration of who we are, right? Empower, encourage, and inspire all children to be uniquely threaded and completely self-driven and self-guided from within. That's where their value is, always. It will only ever be there. And spirit will constantly feed them, as spirit said earlier. As you seek the reverence of who you are within, we meet you, match you. However, of course, spirit is always loving us unconditionally. We can't even imagine the love that spirit has for us. The faces of the soul. Remember, the faces of the soul is that your soul will call in whatever face it needs for you to accept. Fully acknowledge, honor it, accept it, love it, call it in, bathe in it, know it that it's part of you, know that it's part of your soul, know that it's part of your oneness, forgive it, whatever needs to be done in it. The face of that soul wants its interaction and communication with you. That's God. God is saying, hey, I'm in front of you. What are you going to do with me? Are you going to accept me because I'm God? You say, yes, I accept you. You can also say, yes, I accept you, but let's have some rules of engagement so that you're not stepping on my boundaries and you're not taking too much from me, because I can feel it. I can feel things differently than you can, right? And I respect you as God, but now let's commune at a way that's respecting both of us, okay? And then it's just a matter of setting up boundaries that everyone is comfortable with. Okay, so the faces of the soul. The doctrine of who you are has not yet been captured by any relevant text or dogma. For it is, you are, all is, vastly evolving to new states of becoming, that aches to live as the sacred child in adventure to reach new paradigms of allness. Okay, so we say doctrine because that's a word that we're just used to in humanity, a doctrine, but it's much more free-flowing than that. When we say doctrine, it just means it's infinite rewriting of who we are. That's it, just infinite rewriting. And there's not one experience that will ever say this is the truest experience of human experience, because it just can't. Just like saying, how can God be expressed? It can't be, because we're in a constant state of evolution, constantly. You know, there will only be that moment for moment, you know, conjecture of what we think human experience is, but it's far grander and deeper and wider, and not any one person can ever, not any person outside of you can ever define or explain or give a story on how you experience your life. Nobody could. Nobody could explain your experience, because your experience is unique to your soul. Your soul is infinite in its capacity, because you have different soul experiences. You have different earth experiences. You have different wounding. You have different technicolor dream coat threading and coding. How you and spirit have made you and spirit up through the DNA, through all that you are, is completely and absolutely unique. Nobody outside of you can express your defining expression and experience of your soul. Only you can. That's why spirit keeps coming forward again and again and again. Release anything that you think anything outside of you is defining you, because it isn't. It's up to you to say, what is this showing me as the God today? I get to experience this. This is my soul's experience, and it means a lot, because it's my Akash. I'm rich with my soul's experience. I get to rewrite it. I get to redefine it. I get to change it. I get to write in new characters. That's how spirit wants you to get excited. And don't leave it to chance for other people to have a story come forward about who you are. Get used to asking less and less and going to others less and less about questions about who you are. Even the best of the most highest worldly acclaimed psychics and telepaths, they can't tell you who you are, because you're the one experiencing you. And your now experience of you is far grander and deeper and wider and richer if you just allow yourself to. That's what Spirit said. The doctrine of who you are has yet to be and will ever be captured in any relevant texts or dogma. For it is, you are, all is, vastly evolving to new states of becoming, that aches to live as the sacred child in the adventure for each of you to reach into new paradigms of allness. It's up to us. Do I want to be the sacred child today, or am I going to be in that conformed experience of paradigm that just puts me on a completely mental routine, in and out, in and out, in and out. And this is why it's so funny, and it's just a paradox, because the mental routines you can see are just the mental routines, and many people have been commenting over the last year, I've noticed, about the roboticness of how they're noticing our old world systems just crumbling before us, and people moving about life as if it's a program, like it's just a, you know, you're just flipping the switch and you just like you're on cruise control. That's just the monotony and the paradox of the mental programming. You're living in a mental state if that's how you feel day in and day out. And it's up to the emotional, intuitive, spiritual sensing of who you are as a soul to start enlivening who you are, so that no one moment is the same. You are evolving minute for minute for minute. Your cells are evolving. Your body is. Earth is evolving. The consciousness grids are evolving. The consciousness grids are taking profound expansiveness in this one communication right now. Because as I'm opening the portal, it's going into the grids, it's going into the collective, and our hearts are communicating at a higher vibrational level, because you get it. When you're ready to get it, you'll get it. If you go back to 3 or 4 or 5 shows or episodes of ours, they'll be a part of that show. Even if you've listened to it twice, there'll be parts of that show that you'll get now. Because you're a vaster, wider experience of God, and you've let a few things go, and now you're just allowing all of that God communication to be God communication. You're getting activated however God wants you, and you and your higher self wants you to be activated. So your soul and your higher self will call in what it needs, so that you get what you get. So it's, again, the particles of your allness. The particles unknown of symphonic song and dance between all that is. So there's always particles of unknown. There always is, and there always will be, because that's God. That God is meant to be miraculous. We're not meant to know the heavens upon earth in every particle of particles that could be known, or harmonic wave of harmonic waves. That's what Jesus said. If one cannot understand the beauty and the miracle of that which is on earth, how is that which to explain the miracles of that which is beyond and unknown and unseen? So all things are the miracle of spirit, all things. So acknowledge that first, because then you get to start working with your cells as all that is matter is spirit too. Spirit is, as Mother Father said within me, your reverence of your own self is that which you're acknowledging yourself as spirit. And I bow before you, right? As Jesus said, you're worthy of wearing those Beth raiments. Are you acknowledging yourself as such? Are you acclaiming yourself right now as the heavenly body upon earth? For how can you acknowledge yourself of any other miracle on earth if you're not first acknowledging yourself as heavenly? That's how we're bringing heaven to earth. And it's just our perspective of the symphony that is constantly communicating as spirit. We have to awaken and measure into it. Equal, right? So the particles unknown of the symphonic song and dance between all that is, between order and disorder, chaos and the refined, as all are constantly becoming. All particles are constantly becoming. We're constantly harmonizing light within light, because it's light, bathing and transmuting light. We're just amplifying and leveling up. We're constantly leveling up. And you know that when you go back to a situation or a cycle or a vibrational merry-go-round energy and returning back to imbalanced systems of behavior, even if it's just for an hour or two, you'll notice that difference of space-time, if you will. And it won't feel comfortable. It will feel highly imbalanced. And then you've got to recenter, recalibrate, and then you're off creating in the higher vibrations again. So it's really key to pay attention on how you feel, when you feel, where you feel, and then also understand that you're there to vibrate and amplify light for others so that they can remember who they are. Because they might be just waiting for your light to activate their field, because their field is stuck within that mental program and they don't know how to get off, right? So always amplify, and that's why you're there, to ignite and inspire change. So between order and disorder, chaos and the refined, as all are constantly in a state of becoming by the love and the evolving of light. The light within light, the life within life, evolving, vast space and vast solace. As you entwine as such. So do you know that you are light within light evolving? As we said before, your toroidal system is light within light. Do you know and acknowledge that? I'm acknowledging my vortex of light. I'm acknowledging my vortex of light. And whatever light I'm sending out is going to come back into my cells, and I'm going to become even greater light and happiness and joy. See what we're saying? You're feeding your reality. You are the nourishment of your vortex. You are the nourishment of your catalyst. So how are you catalyzing it? What's your vibration projection? And that is the constant song. And it takes you but to surrender and softly and in compassion of all that is life awakening to that which is the divine rhythm. So life is awakening as you awaken. As you awaken greater light. You awaken greater life within the life systems and the flora fauna that our heart pulsations send out, those little particles of light that we send out to all of creation saying, yeah, I'm ready to wake up to something new, Spirit. I'm ready to change. I'm ready for change. How is my body going to change? How am I going to change? You put that excitement and that catalyst into the vortex of the omnipresent. It is constantly changing and evolving. That's why there will be ever, never any text to say, this is the human experience. Well, no, we just evolved, like if we call it 5 years of space-time right now, boom. We've just talked about 5 years of advantage and intelligence that we've never even known before. Right now, boom. Right? It's nice to know and it's nice to read, to take other people's perspective on their unique human experience. But as a collective, as a unique individual, as a soul, that's rich. And only you can write it. Only you can write your soul's experience. Only you. And it's meant to be that way. You're a sacred piece of the puzzle. So it is a song, and it takes but you to surrender softly. Remember, softening is the heart. In the compassion of all that is awakening to that which is divine. There's a divine rhythm in all things, divine song in all things. That is life. All life has a harmonic. All life has a harmonic. It all has a vibration, all has a color. I get so excited. Becoming heard and known to the equal. So that is God said. As you drop and be reverent with yourself as the vessel of spirit, as the vessel of life, you are dropped and known equally, right? As you're becoming and you are heard, and to know that yourself is equal, you begin to level up. You're leveling up, rotation after rotation, cycle after cycle, release after release, you're leveling up. I'm going to level up to my new frequency of being and becoming. And you begin to live in that constant state of joy and jubilance of this as you, because you are the field and you are the field. The field, however, is also amplified by every other co-creator that you've co-created and chosen and contracted to co-create within, the whole collective, Gaia, the grid consciousness, the star councils, the light council, galactic federation, and all things in between. That's God. Seen and unseen, disorder and order, chaos and the refined. It's all spirit. You're just navigating from whatever moment that you need, whatever face that your soul wants to call of it, so that you experience the vastness of who you are if you are awake. So nothing is happenstance. If we take that experience to back to my experience, I can rewrite it if I choose. I can rewrite that part. As I'm sitting creating this God consciousness channel for the councils of the age of 3, I was between 2 and 3, having this beautiful Gaia God consciousness experience. And the person that had walked in thinking that it was something weird and obscure, and it must be shut down because it just was bringing too much fear in their body, because they had wounds that they had not yet dealt with. And so they reacted out of fear. So their fear had them create the control. Okay, that's enough. Stop, shut it down, shut it down. You must conform. You must be like other people, or people are going to think you're weird, and we're going to have to go into some sort of doctor that I want to talk to, because I had that in my other lifetime. I just don't know I did, and I'm just running fear. I'm just running fear because I wasn't accepted when I was little, because I had these gifts and I just can't remember, and I shut them down and I went into a closet and never came out. So I could rewrite that story. And instead, when I'm doing this channeling, and that person now, in this now moment, I can just rewrite that and I can thread that. No, you're going to come through and you're going to have full acceptance, because you're going to know that you had similar gifts as well. And you were never honored or nourished or accepted or valued. And I'm valuing you. Even as that 3-year-old child, I am showing you the face that was shown to that person was that face of absolute acceptance, because that person had the wounds of the very similar persecution and ostracization and judgment and separation and fear. And so I was the face for that person, and that person was the face for me, and I went into conformity. So we can now rethread those historical moments and have them be fully acceptance. Even if it's a vibrational thread, that person might have passed away, but you can still rewrite it vibrationally and change that frequency within your soul's epicenter, and you're not carrying around that vibration into your kosh. You have access to change it all. I mean, these things that I'm saying are not like small. They're pretty massive. They're pretty profound for human experience. In anybody's case, however you want to experience it. It's pretty awesome. It's like mind-blowing. You're progressing whether you know it or not. You're evolving whether you know it or not. You're progressing in all aspects of your experience, whether you notice it or not. The more that you acknowledge it, the more that you become awake to it, then you become more in alignment and adventure to release whatever was. Because it just plays no role into what you're experiencing now. It's just so big. The energy is just so big. So you are asked to stretch beyond all human patterns and call attention to that which is within you and always has been, the divine and the sublime. If you allow it, the evolution of humanity, can you allow your soul to vibrantly swim within the new prospects of all divine change? Can you accept divine change? How can you love all that is divine change? And can you sometimes love it? Can you sometimes forgive it? Can you sometimes let it go? For that is what it's asking you. You are an ever-evolving soul, and the very many faces of your soul is calling you to say, I can love this. No matter how it seems on the outside, I can love it. I can face it. Deja vu. I just had a huge deja vu. I said that in another timeline. To love the seemingly unlovable and to forge rather than follow. You are the divine maverick of peace and sacred joy, and we love you so very much. You are the intrepid travelers of love through space and time, for you to face it all. That's what you've asked for. I want to face as much as possible, Spirit. I want to know, I want to experience, I want to adventure myself as all that is love. Because I've been so small for so many eons, afraid to move beyond, when it's really just adventure. It's just adventure. Nothing to fear. Just adventure of you. It's all you. There's some scary moments. Yeah, that's all you. So call it in, love it, and forgive it. Why would I create that fear? Why would I create that less than? Why would I create that loss? Why would I create whatever you're creating? Own it. You created it. And then sort it out. Why would I believe that I needed to create that loss? Why did I need to believe to create that separation? That's me. Accept it all. The faster you accept it, the greater change you're going to allow your body to assimilate. And that is done through a purity of intention. You don't want to zip through things just to accept things. You want to get the story of it. You want to master all sides and all levels of it. That's how you know God. That's how God knows you're ready. God's not going to move you forward until you get it, because you want it, right? Your soul wants that. Your soul wants to know all perspectives of one story. You're here, so soak it for all it's worth. Profound change, profound change, profound change. The faces of your soul. So we leave you with these questions, dear lighted ones. And for those of you that would like to donate, for those of you that would like to book a private session with me, my web account is there. If you want to connect, global classes, global webinars, private sessions, private healing sessions, activations, activational glyphs, and artwork, I send you through iPad, and I send you activational art, and I call all the teams in and we create art for you. And there's, sacred sounds and blessings in there. So exciting. And so how ready are you? How ready are you for your life to change? How ready are you to let go of how it's always been? So when I was in my channel, they were saying that your ability just to soften and just offer yourself into change is going to be that equal experience. Oh, it's raining. It's hailing. I was going to say, there's got a little window in there that's got hail. And so how ready are you okay, remember that space-time in here. The equal excitement that you are to let go will be the equal that you are changing. So when you hang on to anything, when you resist or deny anything, you're not letting something go. There's an attachment issue there. And that usually it goes back always to safety, because that's the ego. It's always about fear, fight or flight. So look at all attachments. The easier that you are to say, yeah, let it go. Oh, let it go. You sit right within that juicy space where you're just like, yeah, everything's changing. Let it go, Spirit. I don't even remember what it was yesterday. I don't remember I don't remember any of it. It's done. It's over. I'm on to the evolution of now and love. Then you sit within that soft space of spirit, because as they said in that channel that I'm going to say to you next, we're going to go through these big changes. So really don't hang on to anything. Let it all go. And just in your journaling, what am I hanging on to? Why am I allowing myself to stay small and stay attached to small versions of me when I could be really profound, and I'm going to come forward and be my sacred piece of the puzzle, authentically and genuinely and without apology. That inspires, that inhabits new creator God codes for new life, flora, fauna, for new life in the oceans, for new life in our air, for new life for the children, for new excitement and new codes and new quantum becoming. As we enter this new sector of space, hold tight and know that you are always loved, so you're never alone. You're always held safely and securely when we're going through these big, profound changes and shifts. So be excited about it. So let go of anything that comes up that's fearing as far as how things can change and how deeply they can change, because I'm ready for it. God, I know God's got me. I know I've done my work, and I'm letting go of all of the illusions of fear or anything that I'm hanging on to that has nothing to do with who I am as a spirit and a soul. So get excited for change. Isn't that why you are here? You are here to allow yourself the greatest show on earth. In the holiest of thy name, seek the unusual, seek the odd, and seek the slightly off. Seek the new breath of life, seek the joyful, and seek the reverence, for all is the changing of the now, and it's awaiting your engagement. And so, I mean, that's just beautiful and absolutely divine. Thank you, Spirit. And that was the other day's channel. And so that's the faces of the soul, and why we call in change. We call it everything that happens to us, whether it's an injury. I remember when I was first awakening, for just, I think about a year before I was going through awakening, I would constantly hit my toe and my foot, this one foot, the same foot. I would constantly hit it. I would break a toe, and then I would break another toe. My foot would constantly be sprained or twisted, or my toes would be broken constantly, because the body and the soul, the faces of my soul were manifesting what it had to for me to sit down and just listen and be present with Spirit, be still. Spirit was always talking, Spirit was always communicating. But I had shut myself off because of the ostracization, energies that each and every one of us carry, because each and every one of us are from vast galaxies and vast planets. And we're all seeking to interpret and to harmonize those beautiful, unique, and beautiful, dynamic, and original, authentic versions of who we are. And the collective is changing so fast. We can see it right now. Our collective is just aching for the uniqueness and the genuineness of who we are. We're exploring so many great things on gender revolution and what that means for us. And how does it mean on other planets and other souls' evolution of who we are, exploring who we are. And why does gender have such a trigger within our collective, and how can we harmonize it into greater unity and oneness, and what that means for us each individually, for the soul's family that are going through such gender exploration, and what does that mean for us, and how does it affect the body, what does it affect in the soul's evolution of itself, in the knowing of itself, and the exploration of itself, and the expression of itself, and what does that hold for the outside community and the expression of how it faces itself. Right? And so each of us come as these dynamic puzzle pieces for us to explore the vastness and the beauty of who we are. And so we'd like to just end. They're wanting me to do some sounds and some tones on the many faces of the soul. Just know that your soul calls forward whatever it does for you to accept as the reverence of Spirit and the Holy Creator as it is you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. So remember, you are the vortex of the field, and the field is the vortex of you. So what you put out is going to come back to you. Your vortex is the experiencing you, because that vortex is you. So whatever you are experiencing, it is you experiencing you. So allow yourself to choose and go within and change whatever vibration you want, because you can't change it. It's all beautiful and delightful. It's all delicious. So these are a whole bunch of in the councils and the galactic federations and the chambers of light. Thank you, Spirit. There's a whole bunch of different galactic celestial ET beings that are going to be speaking through me. Thank you. Syrian and Palladian clefs. It's so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. I'm so grateful. Hayet Keshaya la la and I guide it again, am I it again, and am I it again, and am I it again, not not net, see not net, night, or she's Yan Marcata day, night, that it did, night, day, my night, shed night. I see, I in see, I am a my at the case shade that I did not in the Britna Asia na Kit na Asia na Nesia ma ma ne ma esi aina yetke a haya yetke ish shayan naka e a yes yeah. Those are some really high codes there. They were showing me what it was like, and there's going to be I can't explain it, so I'm just going to keep going with some sound here. They say I don't need to explain it. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Let them sort it out. Thank you, Spirit. It's not for me to tell what the codes are. It's up for you guys. And there's also future experiences that will be delicatessen on those codes. It's like a delicatessen for them. Thank you, codes. Hi Shishaya Laya Mai and Anaka to the kid at the game, Namaka did again, and I the game died not did not did. See, I in Anaka. Asian, I in Anaka, I at the game. I in Anaka. We are not. No se I am okay, no need not need not Wow, that was so powerful. Wow, 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 wow. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to all the heavenly cabs. So grateful. Oh, wow. Yes, that was so amazing. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Spirit of everybody. Yay! So we rainbow you so much, and we send out love. So spend 5 minutes 3 times a day just sending love and pulsations of joy and acceleration and love consciousness and love beginnings. And changing is so good. Changing is so amazing. And the many faces that the soul has, the vastness and the dynamic experience of who you are, Spirit. You are a unique piece of the puzzle, and you are meant to transmute. You are meant to come along and change, and you are meant to bring your sacred song and constantly connect and entangle with a constant communication that is Spirit. We love you so much. Any donations, we would love to have your donations. And we love you so much for participating in these beautiful, expansive experiences of spirit and Gaia and planet Earth moving into 5D. This is Joanna from 5D Living and Lifestyle, our early morning Ascension show. We love you so much. And please like, share, and subscribe. And we're sending the highest vibrational love from the galactic councils and the federations that are welcoming you into this new sector of space. And we're allowing you to see all the beauty that you are and all things that you are reflecting to your creatorhood. They say creatorhood is the reality outside of us. So the more in love and reverent you are with yourself, you therefore thus then create it in your creatorhood outside of you, reflecting back to you. And so we love you, dear lighter ones, and we thank you, and namaste. We love you so much. This is Joanna.